What's good, fam? Today we back at you with another one, and this video is all about bass. A couple of days ago, Sublab released this new Sublab XL, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Follow me. All right, here we go. We inside Sublab, and I have it set to an initialized patch. Now this does look very similar to the original Sublab, but it's also a lot different because there's so much more that you can do in this thing, and I mean so much more. I'm actually still exploring it. I haven't touched everything, but they've actually made it a lot more sophisticated. So before I mess with anything, this is what the initialized patch sounds like. Basically sounds like a regular bass sound, sub bass. And this is purely a synth sound. Crossroad Harmony, thanks for that sub. I appreciate you, my guy. But again, this is purely a synth sound right here. Let's see some of the stuff that you can do. First thing you see is it's on a sine wave. So we can change that to a triangle, a saw wave, a square, and a supersaw. And then we can also change the octave. With -4 is way too low. I'm gonna leave it at 2 for now. You can fine tune it if you need to. When we're in the supersaw section, you can send this to different locations within the mixer and the amount that you want to send to the mixer. So if you wanted to send this triangle, you can completely make any type of sound you want. This is a full synthesizer now. Now the release is set to, as soon as you let the note go or the key go, it will stop. But if you want it more like an 808, you can kind of extend that release a little bit to as long as you want. I'd probably leave it somewhere around right there. You can also adjust the attack. The filter. And right now I'm just messing with the synth capabilities of Sublab. You could always do this before in the original Sublab, but now they've added a lot of new features that you can do. For example, now you can add up to 4 effects panes or windows, whatever you want to call it, and do even more on top of what you could already do before. So let's add some distortion in there. Made it a lot thicker. Let's keep going. Let's throw in some tape saturation. Yo, this is me from the future. I totally forgot to mention this nice little effect that's brand new to Sublab. It wasn't in Sublab before, but now if you go down here to this macros button, you can click that, and then you get this nice little graphical effects window where you can adjust some of the parameters. So now let me raise up the drive, impact, now this reminds me a lot of Arcade by Output. I still think it's pretty nice though. I like that they added this in there. It looked pretty nice too. So now let's get back to the rest of the video. All right, let's see what else we want to do. Let's try this wave shaper. Ooh. Let's go ahead and throw one more on for good measure. Let's go ahead and put a compressor on here. And then it's a slider down here. You can slide it around and see what it is you're messing with. All of this also goes to the sample layer. So right now the sample layer is actually turned off. And it's a basic kick drum in there. Give it a little bit more punch. Take some of this. Let's EQ this out a little bit. All right, let's get some sub in there. Now we talking, we got something we can work with. And that being said, we just created a custom 808 or a custom bass sound with whatever you want to call it. And we can go up here and save that if we want to. So we can click this button, save preset, we'll name it as something. And now we have our own custom 808 that we just made. There's also a bunch of presets that we can go through. Let's try out some of these. Gritty sub. That's got some grit to it. Let's try something else. In case you just want to nice bass sound. In case you just want to slap a preset on here and come up with something that'll tear a trunk off, you know what I'm saying? You can definitely do that too. So it's basically giving you even more of what you need to create custom bass sounds and something that's gonna fill the bottom end of your beats up. That's a nice drone bass sound right there. And there's still things that I didn't even mess with in here actually. So let's go back to the synth section. We'll go down here. We got the pitch envelope. I skipped over that earlier. We've also got the filter. Let's go to the filter section. And we have the LFO section. Now the LFO section, also before I get to the LFO, the glide has been moved up here so you can adjust the glide time and all that stuff if you want to do like 808 glides or bass glides or whatnot. But let's go back to the LFO. I think this is pretty interesting right here. Because you do have this LFO, you can change it to a sine, triangle, saw, square, or a noise wave, but you can also send it to multiple destinations within this mixer. So you can send it to the sub, for example, and you can send the other one to the synth. Let's change this. So let's change this to 10. So it's immediate. Let's take this up to 3 seconds. It kind of gives it a ramp. There's a lot of things that you can do with this thing. I mean, it's almost endless in my opinion. And do I recommend it? Highly. If you know me, you know Sublab is one of my favorite bass plugins that's out there, and they just made that 10 times better. So why would I not recommend that for you? Now, for anybody that stuck around this long, I got one more thing for you before I'm out of here, because I just hit 1 million views on YouTube. That's pretty big. I'm proud of that landmark. So what I'm going to do is I'm giving away a free 808. You'll be able to download it from my website. The link will be in the description. It's an 808 key group called 808 Crusher, and I'm also giving away an 808 effects rack that will make any 808 into a monster off the rip. This is what the 808 Crusher key group sounds like. Alright, so that's a nice preview, right? Now the 808 effects rack also turns anything into a monster 808, no matter what type of bass it is. Let's go to the bassline synth, for example. Now by default, the fat sign is the sound that's opened up by the bassline synth. It's an alright bass sound. Now let's go load up and apply this new effects rack that I'm giving away for free. So we're gonna go into the 808 Crusher folder, and we're gonna load up this effects rack. It's called 808 Hammer because it will put the hammer on any 808. Now that that's loaded up, this is what happened to that fat sign. Instantly made it hit so much harder. Let's turn it off. This is without it. Let's turn it back on. Instantly made it more full, made it hit harder, and it will do that to any bass sound. And I'm giving this away free. The link is in the description, and like I always say, thanks for watching. I'm out.